Hey guys, it's the Addi Queen, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to knit with 2 strands on your Addi Kingsize machine. I've been doing a lot of crochet recently, and I stumbled upon this really cute yarn from Joann's. It's called Supernova, and I thought it'd be really cute to make a headband out of, but it is a weight 3, and it is so thin, I don't think it'd look very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the middle of the cake and the outside of the cake and use it to make a headband. So just like you normally would, I'm going to get a waste yarn that's a different color. And we're just casting on here, nothing crazy. And I'm going to do like a row or two, not very many. Just enough to get us started. Now, I'm going to take my yarn. I'm going to pull them to be the same length because I feel like we got to start off on a good note here. I'm just going to hold them both and act like it's one strand. Reset our row counter, and I'm gonna go really slow, especially in the first row or two, just to make sure everything catches on the way it should. And push both strands down. Now that I have 2 rows done, I'm actually going to take one strand and put it through the top of my feeder. And we're going to continue. I like to do this to keep my strands where they're not twisting with each other, and if there's a knot, I can easily see it. I kind of keep things straight here. I really like this yarn. I think it's super cute, but it kind of reminds me of yarn that somebody spun on a spinning wheel, which is totally fine, but I don't think that Joann's selling this yarn at like $5 or $6 a cake invested the funds to have someone spin it on a wheel, so I don't know why it's so thin and inconsistent. It's adorable, the colors are really cute and I love it, but it's a little sketchy. I am in a crochet Facebook group and someone shared the yarn, like when it first came to their store, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever. So of course I had to go to my local Joann's, but they are remodeling and are not getting any new yarn until after the Christmas season, is what the cashier told me. So I ordered it online. I got 7 or 8 different colors, and I've been making little shawls out of them. Super duper cute. Well, as you can see, having my 2 strands of yarn going through different places in the feeder, this is really twisted. My yarn going into the project is not, which is wonderful. I've not had any drop stitches or anything. So as you do this, oh, my cake got a little jumbled there. There we go. As you continue on, you know, you just want to watch and make sure that both of your strands are catching. You want to make sure You can see I've got a little tangle here. You want to make sure you're not tangled up. There we go. My main advice for working with 2 strands is just to go slow. I've done 16 rows. I usually do 90 for a headband. So I'm going to undo this little knot here. There we go. I'm going to finish my rows for my headband, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. On 45 rows, we're officially halfway there, and it's looking really neat. I'm really liking the way that the colors are kind of going together here. Oh, okay, we have finished our 90 rows, so I'm going to take my yarn out of the feeder, and since we're making a headband, we're going to cut a decently long tail. I'm cutting it with both strands. I'm going to make sure we tuck it behind this white peg here. I'm just going to put my end in the middle, and then we're going to cast off with waste yarn. I always do a little bit more waste yarn on the cast off just because I do not trust that it is not going to unravel. You will see I did have 2 drop stitches in that row. It's waste yarn. I do not care enough to go back and fix it. I'm just snipping right here, and we're going to take it off the loom and act like it never happened. I don't really care when it's not my project. You know, if that was in my 90 rows for my headband, I would have went back and fixed it. But my machine does not like the yarn I'm using as waste yarn, which is why I'm using it as waste yarn, to use it up and get rid of it. There we go. We have this taken off the loom. We're going to stretch it out and finish up our headband. Okay, so we're going to pull this out. I really like the way this worked up. It's so pretty. That's what we're looking at. It doesn't really look like you used 2 strands. It just looks like this was one yarn. It's very beautiful. Through here you can kind of see that it's 2 strands and maybe a little bit here. But for the most part, we just have a little bit of a thicker fabric. So now, just like any other headband, we are going to crochet this shut and weave it together, and we will be on our merry way. So I fold it in half. This is my cast on end. We're just going to stick our crochet hook through. You want to make sure you pick up both strands, but it's not very hard to do. They're sitting right next to each other. And we're just going to crochet this together all the way across. You want to make sure you have the same number of stitches on each side. That way your headband isn't wonky and off center, because we want our cast on end to match our cast off. We're being very intentional here, just making sure that we pick up every single stitch and that we get both strands on every single stitch. As you may recall, I did not leave a long tail when I cast it on, which is fine. We're just going to tie a little knot here. And then with our waste yarn, we're going to pull it. You see this strand here that's getting tight? What we're actually going to do is pull this strand, and it undoes the foundation row and makes it so much easier to take your waste yarn off rather than trying to fight with it. Like, look, it just comes right off when you pull that out. So that's what I'm going to go around and do real quick, and then we're going to take our oh my goodness, our waste yarn off. Voila! Now we are going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now for one of the simplest parts of our project. I'll fold this in half like a sandwich. We're going to tie our cast on yarn to our cast off yarn. Doesn't have to be crazy tight, we're just tying it here. Now I am going to cut off my cast on. And now we're going to fold this puppy up. Think of like the letter S. And we're going to fold it like this. Now we're going to take both strands of our cast off here and put them on a yarn needle. There we go. And now we're going to sew this together in this shape. And you want to make sure you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers. And we're just going to stitch this until we feel like it is sufficient and will hold. I like to stitch all the way down and then all the way back. This will be the front of our headband and it will hold it together. So you do want this to hold. We're going to work our way back across. Almost there. Okay. Now I'm just going to come right here and tie a little knot. We'll tie another one for security here. And then I'm going to find a spot on my headband. I'm going to put my tails in between the layers. That way, if something bad happens and you need to go in and repair, you have a little bit of room to work. Now we're going to give this thing a good stretch and turn it right side out. Stretch it again. And here is our headband. I think this turned out super duper cute. I think it was a good way to finish off that cake of yarn. See, it just looks like you used one strand. You can hardly even tell that it was two all the way through there. It worked together very beautifully. I hope that this video was helpful to you. And hey, maybe now, you can use some of that thinner yarn that you didn't know what to do with before. Thank you so much for watching, and happy crafting, everyone.